This podcast is sponsored by the Fireman Moving Company. The Fireman Moving Company is the official moving company of WKU Athletics. Not only can they be trusted to move all the coaches in and out of Western, but they can move you anywhere nationwide. The Fireman Moving Company is owned and operated by firemen and is founded by WKU alumni. If you are looking to move sometime soon, give them a call at 270-791-1755 and get yourself a free quote. Welcome to Topper Talk, your number one Western Kentucky athletics podcast. I'm your host, Stephen Moffitt, and I'm joined by co-host Tyler Bailey. Hilltopper Nation, whether it's happening on the hill or on the road, grab those red towels, stand up and cheer, because it's up next on Topper Talk. All right, welcome back, and thank you for downloading and listening to another episode of the Topper Talk podcast. We are the official podcast of the Red Towel Trust Collective, and we are a proud member of the College Huddle podcast community. As always, make sure you're following us on all of our social media platforms, mainly X, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok. Head on over to our YouTube channel at Topper Talk Podcast. Make sure you're following us there, getting updated with every video episode that we release. As always, I've got Tyler here with me, man. We've got a lot to dive into, man. You ready to jump in?
Yeah, it's going to be a banger of an episode.
And as always, we've got to get started with our Red Towel wrap-up, which catches us up with all the WKU athletics news that we've missed since we last recorded, and is brought to us by Trent Bedding Company.
Don't forget your headboards, pillows, and your sheets. We got everything you need for a good night's sleep. Number one on the same check, best of Bowling Green.
All right. Hey! Twins, full, queen and king, mattresses for anything. Come and pick it out and we can bring it to your house. Have you sleeping real good before the weekend's out. Trent Bedding. It's just like a mattress store. Hey.
All right, so this is going to be a long one, so buckle up and get ready. Starting off with WKU baseball, they beat EKU 11-3 when they played Central Michigan. They won 9-4 in game one, turned around, won 2-0 in game two, 10-5 in game three, and won 8-4 in game four.
Yeah, the baseball team is rolling. I know we've got a little bit more to talk about them here in some follow-up points, but man, what Coach Rardon and staff have done with that program is absolutely amazing. Got a sweep of Central Michigan, beating EKU is always nice, and man, I just love what they're doing over there on the baseball diamond.
Jack Bennett, he was named WKU Pitcher of the Week.
Yeah, congratulations to Jack. After that weekend sweep of Central Michigan, he's kind of a solidified starter. Usually that Saturday, that game two starter of the weekend from the couple weekend series that we've had, and he's just gone out and dominated, and just building on what he was doing last year as a sophomore, just having a really good start to the season and really helping propel us to just a lot of victories, just mowing people down.
WKU baseball, they also beat Tennessee Tech to a butt kick in 15-4.
Yeah, so that one just happened yesterday as we record Tuesday. That one happened Monday, and just the second run rule of the year. The bats came alive. We had a grand slam in this game. Again, just awesome to see from the baseball team, just running over people.
And then also in baseball news, they, in case you ain't had enough yet, they moved up to number 8 in the 11.7 mid-major power rankings.
Yeah, their WKU baseball is currently 11-1 overall. We just rattled off 4 or 5 victories there that they've had since we last recorded. Their only loss of the season so far is to Murray State. A couple weeks ago, they had that midweek game. Lost by 1 run in extra innings, kind of a heartbreaker there. But 11-1 is our best start in program history since 1927-28. So almost 100 years since we started off this hot. We've been hanging around to number 11 in this mid-major ranking, and now we're up to number 8. And worth noting that Dallas Baptist, also in Conference USA, has dropped from number 1 to number 3. So I tweeted this earlier. We're coming for that number 1 spot. We're coming. Dallas Baptist, watch out. We're right behind you.
Also, WKU softball, they were in action up on the hill this weekend. They played Kentucky, lost to them 5-7. Turned around, played Tennessee Tech. They beat them 5-1. Played Evansville, beat them 5-4, and then played UK again and lost 5-8. And then they turned around the next day and beat Tennessee Tech 9-1.
Yeah, I hate that they had a couple tough losses to UK, but did battle them. Just didn't go down without a fight. You love to see that, but able to beat Evansville and Tennessee Tech a couple of times. So glad to see the girls are doing really well over there on the softball field. Like you've mentioned a couple of times, definitely get out and go watch the softball girls and the baseball guys as well. Both of them are very good and very entertaining teams to go watch.
WKU tennis, they played Eastern Illinois, beat them 7-0. Then they turned around and played Jack State, beat them 4-1, and then played Southern Illinois and beat them 7-0.
Yeah, the tennis team is in the midst of a 9-game home stretch right now. I think this was games 4, 5, and 6 at home. Uh, Winning 3 in a row is awesome. None of them even being relatively close. Really love to see that from our tennis team. We have a really veteran group over there with a couple of just all-time greats and leaders in singles and doubles victories. So expecting a lot of good things from the tennis ladies this season.
Lady Topper Golf, they ranked 69 after their Reynolds Lake Oconee victory.
Nice. Gotta say, man, we're going to talk about the Lady Topper Golf team more, but that's awesome to hear, being ranked in the top 70. That's massive. And, some of the news that we have coming up next, I'm really going to expect that nice ranking to continue to rise as we watch this year's golf team just dominate this spring. That's what they're going to do.
Speaking of Lady Golf, Katie Craig, she was named Conference USA Golfer of the Week, second this season, 8th of her career.
Yeah, friend of the podcast, Katie Craig, doing Katie Craig / GOAT things. Don't expect much less from her. She finished second in that Lake Reynolds Oconee Invitational. I think it was just a shot or two off of the victory. Obviously, the team victory is much more important than that. But her second golfer of the week. Just in this short season so far, in the 8th of her career. Has having a really solid start to her senior year on the hill.
Lady Topper Golf then won the UNF Collegiate Invitational.
Yeah, they won that earlier today as we record on Tuesday. And their second victory of the spring, which is the first time they've ever won 2 spring events. They've won their 2 events in a row now, and they were led by not Katie Craig. They were led by Sydney Hackett, who tied for 3rd. Avery Klein was tied for 8th. Julia Zagrowski was tied for 14th. Katie Craig was tied for 27th. And Kaylee Dwyer was tied for 33rd. And even though, normally we see Katie Craig top of the leaderboard, leading our team, usually being that anchor that leads us to victory, I think it says a lot about this team that she's finishing in 4th on our team, tied for 27th in the field, and the team still has just a commanding, dominant victory. I think the depth on this team, the talent on this team, whether it's Katie or Sydney or Kaylee, Avery Klein, we've seen several of these golfers up near the top of the leaderboard. I think they're just bound to have a really special season in every invitational they enter, and then especially when we get to the Conference USA Championship.
Moving on to WKU basketball, Hank Plona announced Babacar Faye out for the remainder of the season and will seek a medical red shirt. And he also commented Julia Stedford also doubtful to return this season.
Yeah, kind of hate that for Babacar. He had been rehabbing, since he went down with that injury in December against Murray, rehabbing and hoping to get back, trying to get healthy. But just as we got to these last 2 weeks of the season, it just started to make sense that, if he got back, it would be rushing it back and he could just hurt himself again. And then he'd have no eligibility left. Whereas if he sits out, doesn't play any more games, he can seek a medical red shirt. Obviously that's not a given, but hopefully we can have him back here on the hill next year. And then Julius Stedford, Coach Hank announced in his media availability earlier today that he was doubtful to return this year. So, as we have 2 home games remaining and then the conference tournament and however far we make it in that and or the NCAA tournament, at this point, it's probably best to just shut him down, let him rehab, and hopefully get healthy for next year.
Also, Hank Plona named a finalist for the Joe B. Hall National Coach of the Year Award.
Yeah, so this is voted on by people that know ball, obviously, because this award is specifically meant for first year Division I head coaches, and he was one of 16 finalists for this award. And even though if you just do a quick glance at the stats, what our overall record is, you might not think like it's been an amazing season for him. But if you know ball and you understand all the adversity that he's dealt with and injuries, etc., this year, you would know that he's coaching his butt off. And if you listen to some of the people in our fan base, the negative Nancy's out there that just cry and whine after every loss and question his coaching ability, they obviously don't know ball. It's sad. Coach Hank has this team playing super hard. The intensity, the effort is rarely in question. They're just injured. It's just hard to win a lot of games when you're playing 7, 8 guys. And I'm glad that someone recognized it. I don't expect him to necessarily win this award, but just to be recognized for it really says a lot about what he's doing here on the Hill.
Moving on to football, a little splash of it. Uniform Authority named the WKU Big Red Helmet the Helmet of the Year.
Yeah, I feel like it seems like every episode we're talking about the helmet and the big red uniform. It was in the Hall of Fame a couple weeks ago, and then another Twitter account named it the Helmet of the Year, and now the Uniform Authority named it the Helmet of the Year. So just great recognition for our football team, for our equipment staff, for the creativity that they bring to the field and to our uniforms each and every single season.
Now we're going to talk about Upton a little bit at the 2025 NFL Scouting Combine. He had a 4.45 40-yard dash, fastest box drill speed at 17.52 miles per hour. He had a 37.5-inch vertical, 10-foot, 8-inch broad jump, and 21 reps on the bench press.
Yeah, Upton Stout was turning heads at the NFL Combine, and I think we knew that. We saw him at the Senior Bowl. He showed out. We knew when he got that combine invite that he was going to test really well. His 21 reps on the bench press were the most among defensive backs. That just says a lot about him. He had the fastest box drill speed, of all entrants, and it was the fastest over the last 3 combines. So not just this year, the last 3 combines together, he's had the fastest speed in that box drill. Then a solid vertical, a good broad jump. When he was on the field, taking reps, passes and defending. I mean, he just, showing fluid hips, good movement, explosive. He's really done nothing but improve his draft stock, since the season ended. And Senior Bowl, he proved he belongs there. NFL Combine, he proved he belongs there. We're going to have a pro day coming up in a couple weeks. He's going to just continue to amaze, and hopefully, who knows, maybe he's a day 2 draft pick. He might slip to day 3 because of his size, but whoever gets him is landing a slot or a nickel guy that's going to be an 8 to 10 year NFL player. He's going to be a lockdown playmaker. He has that dog in him. He plays way bigger than what he is, and I'm here for it. I can't wait to see him hit the NFL.
WKU volleyball spring schedule was announced.
Yeah, really enjoying. Last few years they've been putting on a spring schedule. So just running down it real quick, on March 29th, they have some spring matches there at the auxiliary gyms. On April 5th, they're playing Ohio State. On April 12th, they're playing in the Kiva Collegiate Invite. And then on April 17th, they're playing in the WKU Spring Tournament, which I'm sure will be at Diddle, either on the main floor or the auxiliary gym. So if you're a volleyball fan and you need that WKU volleyball fix, you want to see what next year's team is going to look like, be on the lookout for the spring schedule and these matches coming up.
Speaking of spring sports, the WKU football spring game was officially revealed as happening on 4/12. Spring practice will begin on 3/10.
Yeah. So speaking of getting a sneak peek of a football team, or the volleyball team, you also can get a sneak peek of the football team. In just a little over a month now. Practice will start in a week. And then the spring showcase on April 12th. I think we put that out there on Twitter a couple weeks ago, but officially announced by the football account on Twitter as happening on April 12th. The time for that event has not been disclosed as of yet, but when it is, obviously we will share that on our social medias.
Moving on to lady basketball, Acacia Hayes reached 1,000 points for her Hilltopper career.
Yeah, she's the 44th member at WKU to reach that milestone. So, definitely a big time congratulations to her. Just a solid career so far on the Hill, and has some more years left in her. So she ain't done yet. Who knows? Maybe she's gonna, aim for 1,500, aim for 2,000. Who knows? She can get there. But definitely congratulations to Acacia.
Speaking of 1,000 point member club, Don McHenry has reached that mile marker for his Hilltopper career as well.
Yeah, really impressive. Don, since he's arrived here on the Hill, now in his second season, getting close to the end of that, has been our kind of that leader, that lead dog, plays with a chip on his shoulder, that under-recruited guy that went and played in Hawaii, went to JUCO and played there, and has just been a leader wherever he's been. Now he's come to WKU and shown that he belongs here. I'm not wishing him farewell just yet, though, because senior night's coming up. He's a JUCO guy that has that extra year of eligibility. Not sure who's coming back or, what options they're going to exercise, if they're going to transfer or go pro or come back to WKU. So who knows? He's still got some more points in him, though. We've got at least 3 more games left on the schedule. Hopefully, 4, 5, 6, 7 more games on the schedule. So definitely congratulations to Don, but looking to watch him build on that 1,000-point number.
Speaking of basketball, Lady Toppers basketball beat UTEP 81-58 for their 20th victory of the season, and they beat New Mexico State 85-68 for a senior day victory.
Yeah, the Lady Toppers are just absolutely rolling. I mean, we've been saying that since, before the MTSU upset, over a month ago. They just continue to win. They've had a couple hiccups, a couple bumps in the road. That happens. Conference USA is tough, but they are firmly in the number 3 seed heading into the Conference USA tournament in just a couple weeks in Huntsville. And to get that senior day victory for Alexis Mead, Miriam So, and Destiny Salary is absolutely huge. It's always good to send your seniors off with a victory, and hopefully we can do the same for our men coming up.
The WKU track and field coach, the one that passed away earlier, Brent Chumley, he was named the Conference USA Coach of the Year, and WKU also renamed their annual home meet the Brent Chumley Memorial Hilltopper Relay.
Yeah, a lot of good stuff there. Definitely big respect to Conference USA and the other track and field coaches. Obviously, we have some pretty good ones in Conference USA, and for them to, award that to Brent Chumley, posthumously, as a coach of the year after his passing, unexpectedly a couple weeks ago. That's really an honor. Really, really appreciate that from Conference USA. And then really enjoyed seeing that WKU Sports decide to rename their annual home meet to the Brent Chumley Memorial Hilltopper Relay. So, his name will never be forgotten here on the Hill, and I'm sure all his athletes really enjoy that.
Speaking of WKU track and field, they competed in the Conference USA Indoor Championships. Sam Crenshaw he tied for 4th in the pole vault with a jump of 16 feet, 2.75 inches. Sophia Rakowski she tied for 6th in the pole vault with a jump of 12 feet, 5.5 inches. Sterling Weldon placed 4th in the long jump. at 24 feet, 4.5 inches. Luke Stegman, Kason Barton, and Connor Owens placed 9th, 11th, and 12th in the weight throw final. Jake Younger and Michael House placed 11th and 13th in the 5,000 meter run. Kenley Kunkel finished 6th in the 5,000 meter run in 17 minutes. Cameron Horton set 3 personal records that day, including a new school record with a 60-meter dash prelim run of 6.66 seconds. Cameron Horton finished 2nd in the 60-meter dash final and 3rd in the 200-meter dash final. Brinley Desinor placed 6th in the 400-meter dash. Kenley Kunkel placed 15th in the 3,000-meter run with a new personal best result. And Jayla Gilbert placed 4th in the shot put throw. Whew, this is a long list. Luke Stegman set a new personal record in the shot put throw. And Van Thrasher set a new personal record and finished 5th in the high jump.
Yeah, it's not very often I get to just lean back and take a nap over here. But the Hilltoppers had a good showing at the Conference USA Indoor Championships just a few days ago at the home of Liberty is where we were in Lynchburg. And a lot of athletes set personal best, personal records, including Cameron Horton setting a school record in the 60-meter dash, placing in the 200 meters, and just everybody you name there. Just a lot of good finishers. As always, there's so many more results and races and jumps and throws that we didn't name. But we had to talk about those that, set personal records, finished on the podium, and just overall had a good showing at the Conference USA Championship. And so many of these names that you talked about are underclassmen or freshmen or sophomores that we're going to expect to see grow. As I was looking at the leaderboards, they'd be the only freshman or sophomore up near the top. So, really excited for how our team competed, how our individuals competed. And I'm sure, some of that was just being out there competing for their coach just so soon after his passing. And those full results, as always, can be found on WKUsports.com.
All right, so this right here is going to be a little pat on the back. For us as Topper Talk, we have reached 2,000 followers on X. So round of applause.
Yeah, absolutely, man. It's kind of crazy. I mean, we launched a little less than 2 years ago. Our first episode was April 14th of 2023. I started the Twitter account, not long before that. Got it from someone else who already owned the Twitter account. They weren't using it. I liked the name for the podcast, got it from them. It had some followers at the time. I want to say it was 200-300, but since then, and we've launched the podcast and, been doing regular episodes, now well over 100. We just have grown that to where, we are that trusted source of news, information, stats, just whatever's going on with WKU. And it's been awesome to see. I'm obviously looking forward to the next 1,000 followers, and, appreciate everyone that is been there since day one, or if you're a brand new follower, brand new listener, whatever it is. It's humbling and appreciated that so many people, follow us and put their trust and faith in us to just share that any Hilltopper news happening in our world and keep you up to date.
Shoot, you can say 1,000. I'm looking forward to next 5,000, 10,000 followers. Bring it on. Come one, come all. And with that, that concludes the Red Tower wrap up. Moff, back to you.
I've got to say, 24 minutes of Red Tower wrap up basically there. Probably our longest one ever, I'd be willing to say. But this time of year, it's just so busy with so many spring sports, tennis, golf, baseball, softball, track and field, basketball. Volleyball news was in there. Football news was in there. I mean, just a little bit of everything. So much good news. A lot of winning, obviously. Baseball, softball just killing it. Tennis killing it. Golf killing it. We couldn't skimp on that. We had to talk about each and every event, all those athletes that deserve that attention for all the efforts they're putting out there wearing that WKU on their chest proudly and representing our school. So a lot of good stuff out there. Now we've got to turn our attention and talk about the basketball season. We did have a couple road games this past week that we need to recap, and I think it was fitting that the title of our last episode was Jekyll and Hyde. And, that's kind of the basketball team we've seen all season. We've seen really good basketball played at times where we've blown out some teams. UTEP and New Mexico State, when we played them in Ditto Arena, blew them out, had our best games of the season. And then we've also seen some ugly games. We lost FIU by 19, had a tough game versus Sam Houston a couple weeks ago. And then this road trip was kind of no different. The Thursday game we played UTEP, it was kind of a battle. I felt like we controlled that game most of the time, though. We were able to come away with the victory. It was 80-73. Definitely just nice to go on a road. We needed a victory, trying to advance our rankings leading into the Conference USA tournament. We're currently sitting in that, kind of that 7 hole where you want to get in the top 6, so you have a bye and you're not playing on the first day. But as it stands right now, we kind of we're not locked into 7, but we really got to win a couple more games as we turn our attention to the home games coming up this week that we'll talk about in a moment. But then on Saturday, we went to Las Cruces. We played New Mexico State, and, just no other way around it. It was probably our worst basketball game of the season. Offensively, we just couldn't throw the ball in the ocean. It just is what it is. Sometimes you have a bad game. Again, I think I said this last game. If you don't get on our 247 message board and read the recaps by Zeke, you're really missing out, because he takes the stats and breaks them down and just opens your eyes to how good we played defensively. Even in this loss, we played as well defensively as we could have played, and we win 90% of the games we play at that defensive rate that we did against New Mexico State. But offensively, we just, 20% from twos, 20% from threes, not good from the free throw line, not good rebounding the ball. Took care of the ball all right, but just, again, it was just one of those nights where, shots aren't falling. We tried, we mixed it up, we called timeouts. But sometimes on the road, you're at an elevation. It's been a long season. You've got a short bench. Those guys just look gassed. They look tired. Life on the road in Conference USA has been tough, but it is what it is. At the end of the day, it's a road split. We talked about that all year. You want to win all your home games, and if you can split your road games, you're going to be up near the top of your conference. And at the end of the day, this was a road split. I'll take a road split if it's a 1-point win, 1-point loss, whatever, 100-point loss, doesn't matter. We split the road games. I'll take that all day. Tyler, what about your thoughts on these games and this road trip before we get into some grades?
The UTEP game was awesome, and if you would have told me we was going to win that game and score what, 80 points, and we only hit 2 3-pointers that entire game, I probably would have called you a liar. Also, hat off to Christian Lander. He got that double-double with 11 rebounds, 10 points. This game, we didn't really get that many. Well, we got 12 offensive rebounds and 36 defensive rebounds, but there really wasn't that many missed shots. We hit 50% of our twos. We hit 72.7% from the free throw line. We went 24-33. This game we were playing aggressive. We did have 13 turnovers, which when we talk about New Mexico State, I think we had 9, but that game was just the complete opposite, was the complete antithesis for what we are expecting of this team, because I think this team is dangerous. It has a lot of weapons, but just something about that game. It was a long game to watch. And I don't know, man. It's just something that I was sitting there, I was scratching my head. I was like, what is wrong with this team? Especially, after what I just said about the UTEP game. Seeing those two teams come out, just 48 hours difference or maybe less than 48 hours difference, it was completely mind-boggling. But I still like the team. The team still got the fight in them, and I'm expecting great things for them to do with what's left of the season.
Yeah, absolutely. Just tough games. Again, Jekyll and Hyde. It's just crazy how true that is. And, our last episode was titled that, and then we literally saw it in Saturday. Jekyll and Hyde. Just good and ugly. And sometimes you just have to call a spade a spade. I think we try to be fair about those things and not, we're not going to pin the loss on any player or talk down or bad about any player or the coach, etc. You play sports long enough, sometimes you just have a bad game, whether it's individually or as a team. And we've seen a couple of them this year, and that's, every basketball team across the nation. Heaven forbid, if you have any UK fans, they have been melting down for weeks now over some of the losses they've taken. Follow some Liberty people. Every time they lose, they want to fire their coach, and they just gave him an extension today. But next time they lose, this Saturday when they play us, they're going to have a meltdown wanting to fire him because he can't get over the hump and win the big game or take them to the dance. So, I try not to live too much in the moment and get too high after wins or get too low after losses. That just, it is what it is. Sports is so much bigger than just winning and losing every single game. You've got to learn from it, grow from it. And this team has battled all year. So we've got to jump into some grades, man. Let's talk about these games. Let's grade them out. Of course, as we've been doing all season, we're going to lump them into, 2 games into one grade. So Tyler, what have you got for the offense versus these games?
I tell you, I really wish we quit having these Jekyll and Hyde games because it does mess with my grades. Like Tyrone Marshall, he had 16 points in both games, and he was just 1 rebound short of having double-double against UTEP. So we almost had a game where 2 of our players got into the double-double. But UTEP 50% from twos, like I said, 20% from the threes, which we just didn't shoot that many with 2 of 10. But if you was able to get into the lane and, get to the free throw line, that's definitely going to help you out. Against UTEP, it was a complete opposite, and UTEP does play great 3-point defense. I guess if we're going to split it up, UTEP really good, New Mexico State bad. I'm going to have to go with a C+.
Yeah, I think C is fair. I'm kind of like you. UTEP was really great. Just overall, the game, the efficiency, winning on the road, tough. Offense, great, scored 80 points. New Mexico State, bad. You score 47 points, you're shooting 20% from the field, 20% from 3, like we said earlier. It was just a bad game. On the road, dead legs, short bench, just wasn't pretty. So, yeah, I'm right there. I'm going to just cut that in half and call it a C. What about your grade for the defense on this trip?
So in UTEP, we of course, or in the UTEP game, they shot 29.5% from twos, 18 of 61. They shot 16% from beyond the arc, but they did get up, they did have a chance to shoot 43 free throws, and they hit 33 of those. And then you look at New Mexico State. In the UTEP, I think we fouled 29 times, and against New Mexico State, we only fouled 18. But they were shooting 37.3% from the twos, 24 from threes, and 65% from the free throw line. Against UTEP, once you got up on that big lead, it is just natural to it's a coasting time. But that can also be very dangerous, as we saw when UTEP kind of tried to make a run and come back at us. Gosh dang. We did hold New Mexico State to 65 points, which I forgot what they're averaging. I'm going to guess up around like the high 60s, maybe 70, 71 points. UTEP, we dang it, we held them 73. I'm going to have to go with see, damn, I'm having a hard one with this one. C-.
Rough grade, man. Defensively, these guys have been very good. I'm just going to say that. Again, I'm going to reference the Zeke efficiency breakdowns on the 247 message boards. This is not a paid ad, but if you're not checking them out, I mean, when I was on the Hilltopper Haven website many years ago, it was one of the only reasons I used that message board. And then since I rediscovered him over there on the 247 board, have tried to be more active over there. But just the way he breaks down the games and just how good we are defensively sometimes, that New Mexico State game, even in a bad loss, 18-point loss, was still one of our top 3 rated defensive efficiency games of the season. We should win all but 3 of our games on the year with how well we played on defense that game. We just couldn't throw the ball in the ocean from the boat. So defense gets an A for me, man. We played really well. The effort and the intensity is there. It's there every single game. It's going to keep us in ball games. I'm giving those guys an A, man. They're playing their tails off. And what about your grade for the coaches?
Well, the coaches did have a good game plan against UTEP, and sometimes when you get up that, Coach Hank said it today, he's like, sometimes when you get up that high, it kind of messes with your game plan because you're not expecting to get a big lead like we did against UTEP. You're expecting them to at least be able to do something to keep it close, and they eventually did. Against New Mexico State, man, sometimes, as you said, it's just not the team's game. I still like what Coach is doing. He's having the card stacked against him this season, and I know he wouldn't use that as an excuse, and I'm not expecting him to. But he does, he tries to get the timeouts whenever the team's going on a run. He tries to get the team back and centered. I'm gonna give Coach an A in this one.
Yeah, I'm giving him an A as well, man. He's doing a tremendous job. It's crazy. I tweeted this out earlier. It's crazy to think the what if this team was healthy. What if we didn't miss Tegan all season, Babacar, Julius, Christian missed a big stretch of games, Blaze has missed games. It's just crazy. Murdoch is out, Kate Unsold is out. This team could have been head and shoulders better than every team in this conference, and we're still competitive. Even though we're the number 6, 7 seed, we've got several games we could have won, and it all comes down to coaching and effort and intensity. And I think Coach Plona has been the right hire, and I think going forward, even before we get to the off season, in the world that we're in today, so many of those guys have an extra year of eligibility. They're going to hit the portal. Like, everybody needs to be prepared for that. Loyalty is a rare trait anymore. They're going to hit the portal. They're going to test their options, see what's out there, money, bigger schools, opportunities, whatever it is. They're going to go sniffing, see who's interested. Some of them are going to come back. Some of them are going to go elsewhere. But, we have a former JUCO coach that was really good at turning over a roster every other year at least, finding new players, diamonds in the rough, the Don McHenrys, the Braxton Baylesses of the world, finding that talent and bringing them in and coaching them up for a couple years and then turn it over, do it again. I think he's the perfect guy, the perfect fit for this team in this era of basketball, the transfer portal and NIL, at being able to keep, retain, and attract talent. So Plona gets an A. He's been coaching his butt off with the circumstances, and I'm looking forward to watching how this season finishes, and then what he does in the offseason. I think it's going to be huge for looking at next year. What about your grade for the overall road trip?
Let's see, CCA. I'm gonna give him a B.
Pretty cut and dry there, pretty easy. I'm right there with you. I'm BC. I'm straddling it, so I'm gonna give him a B minus. Obviously that New Mexico State loss was just kind of ugly. It leaves a bad taste in your mouth. But again, we split the road trip. It doesn't matter if we lost by 18. We could have lost by 1 point. Loss is still a loss. A split is still a split, regardless. Now we get to turn our attention and our focus onto this week's game coming up on Thursday. We have a home game versus FIU. The theme night has been named. It is an 80s night theme. And quite frankly, I'm looking forward to see if we have a revenge for the 19-point loss that we had at FIU earlier this season. Just a game that, again, wasn't one of our best when we've talked about some of the losses we've had this season. That one kind of ranks up there as, what happened? We don't know. Sometimes when you're playing down in Miami and there's only 8 people in attendance, I guess that's a lonely gym to play in. And we didn't show up. Their court's ugly. Life on the road. It is what it is. It's tough. But now we get them at home. 2 games left at home, and I expect our team to come out with some energy, ready to play, ready to avenge that loss. And then, of course, we have to look forward to the Saturday game. It is senior night against Liberty. It's odd. We opened conference play with them just like we did last year. We opened at Liberty this year and beat them. In a game where we were down a lot of the game, we came back and beat them there at the very end. Now they're right up there, fighting for a 1 seed in the Conference USA tournament. They've looked really good, really consistent this year. But they've got to come here and they've got to beat us. And if we play our best basketball, we absolutely can get that victory. Now, like I said, it is senior night. We've got a lot of guys on the roster that are listed as seniors. Don Enoch, Tyrone, Braxton, Christian, Blaze, Leroy, Jalen Dorsey, Fluff, all these guys that are seniors and can get recognized, but so many of them have an extra year of eligibility with the JUCO ruling that I don't know who's going to get honored. I don't know how that's going to play out, but obviously for several of those guys, it will be their last time ever playing in Diddle Arena. And, I do hate that for them. I hope we can send them out with the victory, just like we did the Lady Toppers this last week. It's always just that bittersweet time of the year where, you want to appreciate what those guys have done, whether it's for 1 year, whether it's 3 or 4 years. They have been here grinding blood, sweat, and tears for this team, for this program. Most of them for multiple coaches now, through the Rick Stansberry and Steve Lutz and now Hank Plona. It's a bittersweet time of the year. Obviously, we're not a healthy team. We're not a fully complete roster like we hoped we would be at the beginning of the year. But, I'd like to think that we can still play our best basketball with a couple home games left. And maybe, this time of year, last year, we were about to hit a 4-game losing streak, and nobody expected that we would go to Huntsville last year and go on a 4-game winning streak to go to the NCAA tournament. So crazier things have happened. I still think this team can play good basketball. I think they can compete with any team in this conference. We've seen every team, except for 2 of them twice now. And there's no team out there that I don't think we can beat in this conference. Now, it will be hard to win, 3 games in 3 days or 4 games in 4 days, 5 days, however that plays out with where we're seeded in the conference tournament. But we did it last year. It's not impossible. We've seen when we play our best basketball, man, we are really good. And I'm looking forward to, seeing this, the revenge game versus FIU. We've got to get that loss back from them. And then, playing Liberty is always tough. They're a good ball team, well coached, some good athletes, good players, but they've got to come here and win. And life on the road is tough for them, just like it is for us. So, man, I'm really looking forward to these last 2 home games of the year. Tyler, what have you got for your thoughts on these 2 games?
Well, I do like the 80s theme for the FIU game. That could be really good. And FIU right now is sitting they only won 3 games in conference. Of course, we're one of them, but I agree with you. I feel like every team is beatable, and FIU and Liberty is no difference. Yes, Liberty will be a much closer game. I feel like. Kind of harken back to when we beat them up there, maybe only be by a few points, but Liberty is a really good team. They've been pretty consistent all year. They know what their weapons is, and hopefully we know what their weaknesses are. But FIU, I would love to beat them by like 25 or 30, just for revenge and just so they know where they stand in conference. But yeah, I think this is a great last homestand right here. Hopefully a lot of people come out and support the seniors against Liberty and against FIU. But hopefully Diddle is full to send these guys off right into the conference championship or the conference tournament. But this whole season we really ain't had no easy games other than the New Mexico State game at home, in my opinion. So I'm not expecting this weekend to be any, or this week's games to be any different. Other than it's going to be a fight, and it's going to test our composure and probably our resilience.
Hey, I think you were right when you said get us ready for the conference championship. I think you were foreshadowing what's going to happen over the next week or so. I'm right there with you. But we've got to jump into our keys to victory as always, for both games. So what's going to be your first key to victory to get 2 W's in our last home games of the year?
Well, historically this season, when we've been rebounding the ball good and we've been out rebounding the other team, or at least keeping it close, even if we don't win the rebounding battle, we've been winning. So my first key victory is definitely going to be to win, or at least be competitive in the rebounding battle.
Yeah, we've got to be competitive. Rebounding the basketball is also my first key to victory. It has been just right there, directly correlated with so many of our wins and losses. It will jump out at you when you're doing like we are every single game. You're recapping them and looking at stats. Obviously, shooting percentage is going to be right there. If you're shooting a bad percentage, you probably lose. But even when those stats are close for both teams, if the rebounding margin is huge, you're probably losing that game. So yeah, I'm right there with you. Rebounds is the number one key to victory for me. What's your second?
Lock down the opposing team's big men. FIU, they got the Vieni. I'm not even going to try to pronounce his last name, but he averages 10.2 points per game, 4.9 rebounds. And then you got Jonathan Abar. He's averaging 10.2 points as well. He's a forward. He's average. And that Vianney guy, he's a center. Jonathan Abar is a forward. He's averaging 5 rebounds a game. And that Vianney, he can go out and he's shooting 40% from the 3-point line. So he is kind of a threat when he's going out. And then, of course, for Liberty, you got Zach Cleveland and some of their posts. So we're going to have to definitely protect the paint.
Yeah, I think my second key to victory is going to be take care of the basketball. I think we're going to be playing a couple teams in FIU and in Liberty that can get up and down the floor and run up the score pretty quickly. Liberty can get hot from 3. We saw what FIU did when we played down there in Miami. We have to take care of the ball, not have empty possessions, because we can be really efficient shooting the ball, but you're not doing that if you're turning the ball over. So take care of the ball, which we've been really good at most of this season. But limit those turnovers. Obviously, try to force more than what you have. But I think that's going to be a key to victory. What is your third key to victory?
I guess my third one's going to be good ball movement. Because if you make the extra pass, that guy's going to have probably a good chance to either pump fake it from 3-point line and then drive, get fouled, get to the free throw line, maybe and one, or he's going to be set good and ready to shoot a 3. Which, if as we've said in the past, if we're sitting there, get the pass and then shoot it, there's a higher percentage of that going in than when we take it off the dribble and just jack up a shot. So I'm going to go with good ball movement.
My third key to victory is going to be play for each other. It will be senior night on Saturday versus Liberty. This team has been through so much, a lot of adversity, a lot of injuries, ups and downs, wins and losses. Most of them for a couple of years now. I think they have to play for each other. They want to send, whomever the seniors are, whoever's playing their last games in Diddle Arena, they want to send them off with 2 victories. I'm sure of that. That brotherhood, that bond they have. It's bigger than the name on the back of the jersey. It's about the name on the front of the jersey. So go out there, play for each other, and get a couple solid and much needed victories. Tyler, who you got for your last, not last, but last regular season MVT of the year?
Well, if I was torn on that last one, that last key to victory. I was thinking about saying go out and have fun because teams play better when they play loose. You ain't so tight, scared to make a mistake or anything like that. But my MVT is going to be Woo Marshall. He's been playing really hot here lately. He's been adding points. He's been getting rebounds. And as we both said earlier in the season, he is a matchup nightmare, and he can be a great factor for our team. So I'm going with Tyrone Marshall.
I've bounced around a lot this year. I've had Don, I've had Tyrone, I've had Christian. Braxton, put his name in the hat a couple weeks ago with that big performance against La Tech. But I think for the last home games of the year, I have to go back to Old Faithful. Old number 2, old Don McHenry. I've got to go with him, man. He's the straw for a reason. He's going to stir the drink, and more times than not, he's going to help lead us to a victory. So I think it's got to be Don, the newest member of the 1,000-point club. Whether it's his last games at Ditto Arena, I don't know. Whether he exercises that year and comes back, I don't know. But either way, I'm going to enjoy these last 2 games that we have with him that are guaranteed, and hopefully he helps lead us to a couple more victories. So give me Don McHenry. What about your score predictions versus FIU and Liberty?
All right, so against FIU, I got Tops winning. I'm going to change it up a little bit. I was going to go with 74 for our points. I'm going to go with 77 to 63. Tops victory. And then against Liberty, I'm going to go well, dang. I didn't even think about that. I had 77 for the Liberty game. I'll go 78-76 for Liberty. Tops victory.
Home sweep. I like it. FIU, give me that game. We're going to beat them 78-70. I think it's going to be a little higher scoring for both of us. But I think 78-70 is a good margin of victory. I'd like to see it be more. We need a 19-point victory like they beat us. Then Liberty, I'm right there with you. I think it's going to be a battle. The last couple of years, it seems like every time we play them, it's come down to, the last possession or 2 of the ball game. And hopefully, I don't want to jinx them, but I do want to jinx them. Every time Liberty has a game, I hear how bad they are at shooting free throws. So I think we're going to beat them by 2 points, and they're going to miss 12 free throws, and that's why we're going to beat them. They don't know how to make free throws apparently in Lynchburg, and they definitely ain't going to bring their free throws to Bowling Green with them. So give me WKU winning 80-78, high scoring game, but sorry, Liberty, didn't make your free throws. You walk out of Diddle and go back to Lynchburg with a loss. But man, I'm really looking forward, like I said earlier, really looking forward to these last 2 home games. Again, bittersweet time of the year, but time to start playing, our best basketball that we know we can play, heading into Huntsville and the Conference USA tournament. Because again, anything can happen there. It's March now, officially, and this is when the madness and when the magic and just the unexpected can happen. So I'm really looking forward to seeing, how this basketball team puts a bow on their season in the regular season and then goes to Huntsville, and we're going to shock somebody. It's going to happen. We're not going there one and done. That ain't happening. Coach Plona's too good of a coach, and this team, they're going to want that taste of winning that tournament and that magic and the NCAA tournament and all that comes with it. And it won't be easy, but they certainly have the ability to do so if they just play together. Like you said earlier, have fun, play for each other. They can go win some ball games. So I'm here for it. Looking forward to it, man. Tyler, hit me with your final thoughts and take us on out of here.
Yeah, on March 1st, I was on X, and I think it was Barstool Sports put out like a video where it was doing the intro music for the NCAA tournament. And I just gotta say, if that don't light your fire, your wood's wet. This is, in my opinion, one of the greatest times of the year. But as you said, it is bittersweet because college basketball is coming to an end, and I dread them days because to me, college basketball is one of the greatest sports out there. Anybody can be beaten on any given day. It's all about who wants it more. But I would like to talk to some of the people about the negativity of some of the fan bases because I mean, yes, basketball is a hard game. Basketball is a game of adversity. It's how you address it. It's how you get through it. Just like football and really any sport, if you played it, you've met adversity. Games don't go the way you want. Shots don't go down. You turn the ball over, you make a mistake. It's all about how you face that and move forward. With some of the people being so negative, I don't know how they get through life because things don't always go your way. Do I hate it? Yes. Am I going to trash talk the players or the coach? No. These players are going through enough in their life. They're doing stuff that, the majority of people don't do. They don't know the mental strain of it. They don't know the physical strain of it. These players are tough. And I feel like to be a college athlete, you have to be. So I just don't understand why some of these people are so dang negative. Stop being so bipolar, if you ask me, and just be happy. Cheer for the team. If you are going to be negative, maybe don't do it so publicly where the players do see it because they see that. And I'm sure they're already taking it tough. They got to be hard on themselves because if someone's normally scoring 16, 18, 20 points, they come out and they score maybe 9, 8 or less. It's just it's just going to be the players take it hard. They don't need any more added pressure. So I'm not going to tell you how to live your life. Go out and do what you want to do, but maybe think about how your actions or your words may affect somebody else. And maybe, don't take life or games so tough or life so tough. I mean, no one gets out of it alive. And it's all about, it's about being tough and making it through. Because if the game of basketball taught me anything, it's how you address adversity. So everybody come to the games on Thursday, Saturday, be loud. It's going to be 80s night. That's going to be fun. And come out. Always wear your red, some neon colors to go along with it. And everyone just come out and have some fun, man. The game should be dope, especially when Diddle gets packed. It's awesome. It's loud. It's rowdy. The team loves it. The coaches loves it. And it's a great time to come out and spend with about 6,000-7,000 of your closest friends. So I guess I'll end it there. Some off. Who has it better than us, dog?
Nobody, buddy. You know it.
Go Tops.
Go Tops. Later, guys.
See you.